Honored
This,
to have you to be part of us this evening.
and I am absolutely grateful to be here. This evening, I will be sharing with your audience 5 keys to developing effective personal leadership. But what does that really mean? What does that what does that really and truly mean for us this evening? As David shared, I will just share quite a little bit more fun facts about who I am, just to give us some additional context of who Tanique really is. I am I am a child of God. I am a daughter, a mother of 3 amazing boys. I am a sister, a teacher by profession. I didn't come into coaching and banking, but I I think God led me to those paths. But I am a teacher by profession. I am absolutely radical about empowerment and self-development. I am a friend, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm an overcomer. And for this evening, we talk about the 5 keys to effective personal leadership. And we can talk about different types of leadership, but this evening, I really wanted to zone in on personal leadership. And I will get there in just a few moments. And so the essence of us being here this evening or this afternoon or this morning, wherever you're tuning in from, because we will be having persons who will be watching replays and they may be watching it in the morning. But whatever time you are watching this, the objective that we want to share is that you want to become a better leader of yourself. And that's why we talk about personal leadership. You want to also increase your influence in a very positive way. And so I have come up with this definition for personal leadership. So I've Googled and I've looked at what leadership means and I've looked at what personal means and I've done these various things and I've put together for myself a definition for personal leadership. And it says that personal leadership can be defined as the self-confident ability to clarify your thinking and establish an exact direction for your own life, to commit yourself to moving in that direction and then take intentional action to acquire, accomplish, or become whatever you identify as your ultimate goal in life. And there are some very key words in this definition: self-confidence, exact direction, commit. You want to commit yourself to moving in that direction. And then you want to take intentional, because we can take action, but our actions might not be intentional. And for me, taking intentional action is a key part of developing your personal leadership. And I like this quote by John Maxwell. It says that the hardest person to lead is yourself. And I don't know about you, but I know that I totally agree with that quote, with that statement. Because we must first get into the aspect of assessing ourselves, doing introspection, and we'll be asking some questions when we talk about the first keys of knowing your higher purpose. But we must first take intentional action. And intentional action requires us to lead ourselves. We have to get into that space of learning to lead who we are, finding out who we are so that we can lead ourselves first and foremost. Because when we get to know who we are, we start getting to dive a little deeper into knowing ourselves and becoming a better version of ourselves. And I trust that you are seeing the slides as I go along. Let's talk about knowing your higher purpose. What does that look like for each and every one of us? Proverbs 20 and verse 5 says, the purpose of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. it goes back to intentionality, insight, intentionality, foresight, looking deep within. And when you look deep within, you will see what your purpose is. I remember speaking to a colleague of mine, and we like to talk about purpose because we both talk about purpose in our journey. And purpose, your purpose, all of us, our purpose, our higher purpose is to serve. But we serve in different capacities. We serve in different assignments. Our assignments may vary in different phases or different seasons of our lives. And how do we tie those assignments back to the higher purpose of serving? How do we pull out that insight? How do we make intentional steps, take intentional action to become that purpose, to become the highest and best version of who we are? Every season requires us to become a higher version of ourselves. Every season requires us to become at least either 0.5%, even if it is 0.5%, let me say 0.5%, better than we were the season before. And that requires insight to draw out that from within us. And that's simply what this verse is saying. The purpose in a person's heart is deep waters. We have so much within us that sometimes it scares us to really anchor ourselves and like, wow, can I really do that? But yes, you can. Whatever it is that is in your heart that you want to do, that aligns with the purpose and the will to serve, you can do it. So let's talk about how we get into or knowing our higher purpose, the vision of who we are. You want to start asking yourself questions like, why am I here on earth? And we basically answer that question. We're here to serve. Well, how do I serve? What capacity do I serve in? How well am I serving? Am I serving in the right space, in the right way? Because many of us, we have dimmed our purpose, we have dimmed our light because we have been told either by society or we've been told by others that you can't. But you need to ask yourself these reflective questions. Again, it goes back to these are self-assessment questions, by the way. The self-assessment, assessing yourself, assessing who you are, assessing your higher purpose, knowing that higher purpose. These are the questions that will help each and every one of us to get there, to own into that higher purpose. Why am I here on earth? I am here on earth to serve. I'm here on earth not to serve myself, but I'm here on earth to serve others, to live a life, to leave a legacy. I remember, I think it's Zig Ziglar that says that inheritance is physical, legacy is spiritual. And so when we know our purpose, we tend to leave a legacy. We work towards leaving a legacy when we know our purpose. When we pull that purpose from out of our heart and we start to function in that purpose. And we ask ourselves, what does higher purpose mean to me? What do I think my higher purpose is? And if you're here and you have already identified and established your higher purpose, you can go ahead. You can put your comments in the chat and let me know if you have established or identified your higher purpose. Along with identifying your higher purpose, it comes with your core values, because owning your core values is a part of identifying your purpose. It ties in with your purpose. It ties in with that higher purpose. And you want to start asking your question, how do I know that this is my higher purpose? It's when you know you're doing this or whatever it is that you're doing It doesn't feel onerous. It doesn't feel like someone has a big stick over your back. It doesn't feel like you're forced to do this. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just doing this for the sake of money, but you're doing this and you have this joy. You have this joy that is deep within. It doesn't mean that you don't get tired. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't get tired. However, when you have this higher purpose, you get excited. When you take your sabbatical breaks and you come back, you feel so rejuvenated and you can't wait to start serving again. And that is how you know you're in your higher purpose. When you know that you're not in your higher purpose, you can't wait to go on vacation. As one writer says, some persons, they plan their vacation more than how they plan their lives, because you can't wait. Like, we're now in January 2025 and you're just looking at the calendar. Okay, my vacation is coming up. I want to start planning my vacation for the summer, for July or for August or for September or for whenever that period is, or for the spring. And you're planning your vacation because you can't wait to get out of the work environment that you're in. That shows that you're not in your higher purpose. You're just doing a job, but you're not working in your purpose. You also want to ask yourself, as I shared earlier, what are my core values? What are some of my core values? What are some of the best things about me that I really would like to share with the world? For me, it was inspiration. I am a nurturer and I'm an encourager. By nature, that's who I am. And so I like to inspire people. And how do I express this to the world? Areas like these, having access to communities like these and being on platforms like these where I inspire persons to dive a little deeper into who they are, not just the surface level, but to take off the mask and to identify who you are. Really, who am I beyond being a mother? Who am I beyond being a sister? Who am I beyond being this executive in this corporate role? Who am I beyond this volunteer role? Who am I beyond being this person in church? If you go to church, but you're asking yourself, who am I beyond all of that? When we take off all of that. And so you want to express yourself again, nurturer. I'm a nurturer and an encourager by nature. And I nurture those things within myself to bring them out to the world. That's how I start to step into the purpose life, the purpose work that I am doing. And you can too. We all can. You can do that as well. And if you haven't done so, there is something that I do with my client, and it's called a core values exercise. And we work on their core values, because here's what I've come to note, that a lot of persons have values, but they are not theirs. They have values, but they're not there. That it's not coming from you. You have taken on the values of an organization. You have taken on the values of your parents or those around you. But really, what are your core values? What are those values? What is it that you want to express to the world? And so you want to write down 2 ways in which you most likely express your qualities to others. David is a part, he is expressing his qualities through these leadership weekly series, because he realizes that this is a way that I can impact and influence positively the lives of those around me, as well as by extension, the lives of those persons who they're going to connect with. Because, for example, David might know John Novice, but David doesn't know the next 5 persons that are connected to John. But because David is impacting, because David is showing his qualities, bringing out the qualities that he wants in this world, And he's showing that to Jan. Jan can now influence others in a positive way because he has been impacted positively with these qualities that David wants to bring to this world. And so, how do you, again, step into and know your higher vision? Use the two core values, use the two statements that you want to bring to the world. Use them to create a life purpose statement. It doesn't have to be long. For me, it is inspiring humanity to take bold steps towards the life they desire in life. Inspiration. And you want to also start creating a list of activities that make you happy, that truly resonates with your soul. And then you can start creating a vision board. And when you start creating that vision board, you will see then how your life begins to look different. So these are action steps in knowing your higher purpose or your higher vision for your life. The second key that we want to talk about is being adaptive and accountable. What do we mean by being adaptive and accountable? So for us to develop our personal leadership, we need to embody or embrace being adaptive. We are adaptable, switching, becoming, and being accountable, being self-accountable. So after you have found your purpose, you now need to make room for it. You really have to give something. Change must occur. And that's why being adaptive is a part of knowing and becoming a better version of yourself, knowing your personal leadership, developing your personal leadership. And so you cannot stay the same. You cannot stay the same. You cannot do the same thing. You cannot hang around the same people. Persons who are successful, they tell you that you are the sum total of the 5 persons, the 5 closest person you hang around with. And so if you hang around 5 millionaires, you might not become a millionaire overnight, but it stands to reason that you will become the 6th millionaire within that group because you are learning the principles. You are learning how to use the resources that they have and they're teaching you and you're learning from them. And so we can't have the same old routine and expect a different result. They said that doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, that is the definition of insanity. And so you know that you are the reason, you know your reason for being here. Your reason for being here is to serve. We have established the why. We have established the why first. Now it's time. Remember the definition that I spoke about. We have intentional action. Now it's time to take intentional action. And that's where being adaptive comes in. That's where being accountable comes in. We have to decide, not just say it, but do it. When we decide, you have to go all in on that decision. Decide to become. I am deciding to become that person. It's going to take work. It's going to take commitment. Again, in that definition, commit to becoming that person. Taking intentional steps and committing. You are committing. So that is a decision. When you commit to something, that's a decision. But still, you have to have expectation and so change. So you must disrupt. We have to disrupt that standard, that old standard that we are used to. We have to disrupt that mindset to become adaptive and accountable. And that disruption simply means that, you know, there is a realization that this was once what I was. Now this is who I want to become and work towards that. So change. You have to change and change to be the better, change to live your purpose. And that is a part of the adaptability and the accountability. And so when we think about adaptability, the definitions to adapt means is to make yourself suitable for something new, for a purpose. to modify yourself, to adjust for new conditions. But how do we become adaptable? How do we make ourselves suitable for something new? How do we make ourselves suitable for this personal leadership? And that is, we accept change, accept the change. The second thing, adjust our mindset. And it comes back again to action. You notice how action keeps coming out? Action keeps coming out in this, because again, in order for us to change, in order for us to lead ourselves, to be effective in leading ourselves, again, I talk about the self-assessment, asking those questions and assessing yourself deep within, looking within and assessing yourself and being truthful in that self-assessment, because that self-assessment will pull out what is in your heart, and it will help you to become, again, in that season, the highest and best version of yourself in that season. And so we are always changing. 5 years ago, we didn't have generative AI as we have it now. Yes, we had AI because there are things that AI was doing before, but not on the large scale that it is now. And so this world, this space that we live in, the earth is not necessarily changing. The earth remains the same, basically. I mean, people are destroying things on the earth. As people, we destroy things on the earth. But if we really look, things are ever changing. We hear of the climate change that's happening. There are places in the US now that never usually get snow, like Florida, and they are having snow. And that is, it's not crazy, but it's the way that things are changing. And so we are ever changing. And so for us to adapt and be accountable as a part of our leadership, personal leadership journey, is that we have to accept the change within ourselves. We're not talking about accepting change from other persons. What is it that needs to be changed in me? What are the things that I need to change about myself in a positive way that's going to help me to lead myself better? And by extension, because when I start leading myself better, by extension, I'm going to be able to lead those around me, whether it is from an organizational standpoint or it is from a personal standpoint in the home. Because the more we learn to lead ourselves better, the better we're able to lead outside of ourselves. Because again, leadership is not static. Whether it is personal leadership or organizational leadership, it is not static. It's ever evolving. It is ever changing. And so our mindset needs to change. Our mindset needs to evolve. And our action plan needs to be a living document where we go back and we tweak the things that needs to be tweaked. And so change is the very nature of existence. I think one person says that to change, to be perfect is to change, and to change often is to be perfect, or something to that effect. But change is constant. The only thing in life that is guaranteed is change. Change is guaranteed. Today we are looking at a certain way. Tomorrow we are going to change. Something is going to change. So every day. So the 3A rules when it comes on to adaptability and accountability is to accept the change, adjust the mindset, and have an action plan. And what are the questions that we can ask ourselves as it relates to adaptability? Will I change for the better, or will I change for the worse? With your actions right now, and I'm not even going to put, even though 5 years is on this slide, I'm going to ask you, with your actions today, being January 26th, 2025, What will become of your life by the end of December 31st, 2025? Where do you see your life? Where do you see that space? Where do you see change happening in your personal leadership journey by the end of 2025? Let's take out the 5 years, because a lot of us can't look at 5 years down the road. Let's look at these 12 months that we have and think about the actions that I'm taking right now. Will they result in the person I want to become by the end of December 31st, 2025? What life choices do I currently now need to adjust? What are some of the life choices that I am making now that I need to adjust? What are you consistently doing to improve yourself and your skills? Are you up-leveling your skills in your personal leadership journey? I remember having a conversation recently with another colleague, and one of the things that we spoke about as it relates to improving our skills, and she said it so eloquently. She said that many persons have a growth mindset, but it doesn't mean that you are growing. And that hits home, because many persons really do embrace this growth mindset idea, but they aren't really growing. And in order for us to truly embrace that growth mindset, we need to be growing. We need to be consistently improving ourselves. So even though we embrace that growth mindset, like, yes, I am not fixed-minded. I'm not saying that I can't learn this or I can't do that, but am I taking intentional action or actions towards moving one step at a time towards that which I want to become? Am I improving my skill sets? What am I learning? What am I truly learning in this space? And so we want to ask ourselves these questions. And so after we have done the disruption in being accountable, how do we hold ourselves accountable? How do we truly hold ourselves accountable? We must be personally accountable to ourselves. Accountability is that factor or condition of being responsible. Responsibility and responsibility are two words joined together. It's a compound word. Response and ability. It's my ability to respond. And so, how am I being accountable to myself? So then, how do we take the action? How do we take the intentional action? We have to understand that it will be slow at first. Yes, I get it. We want to move fast because this world is just evolving so quickly. It's moving so rapidly, and we want to go fast. We want to go at 100 miles per hour. But slow and steady also wins the race. It's not about who crosses the finish line first. It's about keeping your eyes on the prize and moving steadily towards that prize. Adapting, making yourself into that person, adapting to the conditions that requires you to become that person. Changing the mindset. Changing the mindset. Taking responsibility of your story. Am I blaming others? Am I holding on to the grudges, the unforgiveness? I mean, personally, I can speak to that, but I won't get into that right now. But taking the responsibility and identifying that I need to change in order to become this person, to serve at a higher capacity, because personal leadership is about leading myself and then leading others, growing in a space and a space to learn to lead others. And so be practical, know your why, have a positive environment both internally and externally. What are you telling yourself? What is the story that you're telling yourself? What's the story? Many of us tell ourselves stories that are not true, and we hold on to those stories. And so the mindset shift is required for us to be disruptive and for us to become adaptive and accountable in our personal leadership journey. Developing our self-discipline and our self-confidence. That's the third key to becoming a better version of yourself. So developing your effective personal leadership, developing your self-discipline and your self-confidence. And so the more you develop your self-discipline and your self-confidence, the more you're able to control your emotions, the more you're able to identify those emotions. And you're able to regulate emotional regulation. So learning to control ourselves, knowing that when you're self-confident and you have developed that self-discipline, that is what will happen. Believe in yourself. And this is a quote by Will Smith. He says that I believe that self-discipline is the definition of love. When we start to understand self-love, we recognize that all of these tie into self-love, knowing my why, knowing my higher vision, my higher purpose is a definition of love. Being adaptive and accountable is a definition of love, of self-love. Becoming self-discipline, developing discipline of self and developing confidence within self is a definition of self-love. And so how do these two work together? How does self-love and the discipline and the confidence work together? Well, if you say that you love yourself, then you're going to start behaving in a way towards yourself that is loving and that is kind. And so what does that look like? If you love yourself, you won't do things to harm yourself. You are going to want the best for you. You're not going to put your purpose on pause. You're going to want to be radical about you becoming a higher and best version of yourself. You want to do things that are in alignment with your purpose and your core values. You will be determined to modify yourself, not in a negative way, not to change yourself based on other person's perception, but you're going to want to modify yourself to be that ideal human being, to determine and to achieve the goals. Because again, it goes back to, as I said, the more we develop our self-discipline, the more we develop our self-confidence, the more we're showing love to ourselves. When I love myself, I want the best for me. And I'm sure that you also want the best for you. When you love yourself, you're determined to see that. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's forging immediate, it is foregoing, right? The immediate pleasure. And so again, and I know some persons, especially like I have children. I told you I have 3 boys, and typically, especially when they were younger, they wanted to get this right now. They wanted to get the pleasure of getting this right now, especially when it's at a birthday or something is coming up. They want the pleasure of this right now. But as we grow older, we learn to delay because again, we're developing our personal leadership and we're developing our self-discipline and confidence. We forego the immediate gratification and we delay it because we know that I may not be ready for this. You know, sometimes, and I think there's a story that goes where if a father gave a son, you know, a car, and the son wasn't ready for the car. And let's put it, I mean, I have children. If at the age of 10, I'd given my son my car to drive around and to go, you know, carry his friends out. At 10 years old, he would not be ready for that. But at 19, at 18, 19, 20, I can trust him enough to give him the car keys, to go out, to go probably to the grocery shop right now, to drive me somewhere or to drop me off somewhere. But at 10, he would not have been able to take all of that in. And so it required discipline. And it required me being disciplined as a parent as well, to know that I can't give my son this car to go drive and to go gallivant, because I would be irresponsible as a parent to do that. And so when it comes on to us, when we are learning to develop our personal leadership effectively, we are delaying the immediate gratification because we're working on ourselves to becoming a high and best version of ourselves. And we're delaying this immediate gratification for something that will be greater in the end. And so you want to ask, all of these things. Self-discipline, it means putting off immediate comfort and wishing and, for long-term success. So we want the long-term success. So we put off, again, the immediate gratification for long-term success. And again, Will Smith says that 99% of people are not willing to do what it takes to make their dreams come to pass. A lot of persons wish, but they don't put in the work. Again, it goes back to my definition of personal leadership, intentional action, becoming who do you want to become? Committing to that action, committing to taking intentional action. So you have identified that ultimate goal that you want to become in life. And so you work towards it. And that is why we hear about the 1%ers, and then we hear about the 5%ers and the 10%ers. But again, majority of people in this world don't have not yet developed, let me put it that way, have not yet developed the self-discipline and confidence in order to reach where they want to go. And so when we start to develop our self-discipline, one of the things, and self-confidence, and one of the things that I always say is that when it comes on to self-confidence, it's not something that you can go and pick up off a supermarket shelf. For us women, you may go to your favorite beauty store. It's not one of these pretty lip glosses that you can pick up and smack on the lips and self-confidence is deeper than that. Self-confidence is deeper than putting on the facade. Self-confidence goes deeper. It's not something you pick up off a supermarket shelf. It is actually a muscle, just like self-discipline. Both of them are muscles that you develop over time. And so you want to ask yourself these questions. How do you feel about yourself currently? How badly do you want to live in your purpose? What type of activities are you allowing yourself to do? Do you only do what is easy? Is it about winning or is it about learning? Many of us have the mindset of it's all about winning. And I like what Nelson Mandela says is, I never lose, I either win or learn. But when it comes on to win, when we talk about winning, let's not think about, oh, I am beating that person. It's not a race where you have to think about, oh, I'm coming ahead of this person. Your wins, and you celebrate those wins. Let's talk about celebrating the small wins, the things that you set out to do, and it felt hard for you to do, but yet still you did it. You took the time and you made the sacrifice to develop your personal leadership. And in the same breath, you're learning. Will you give up if it takes too long? What would happen to you if your goals, if you didn't achieve the goals? Again, there's a book that I read by Anik Singhal. It's called Escape. And he asked, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so that is how we achieve self-discipline and self-confidence. Small intentional actions, one bite at a time. That's how we do it. doing the hard things, even when we feel like giving up and we feel like we can't go on any further. It is just doing it one more time. And the fourth thing that we want to talk about is developing your spirituality. What does that look like? And I want us to know this, that spirituality and religion, they're not the same thing. Spirituality and religion, they're not the same thing. Religion is a set of rules that governs you in your religious organization or body. Developing your spirituality is more about connecting to a higher source. Connecting to a higher source. Elaine Jack says, it is the fruit of eternal progress, are manifesting joy, peace, hope, love, increased confidence in the Lord. And so we all have access to developing our spirituality. And so how do we develop our spirituality? Is so we must have an open heart. We must open up our hearts to the peace, the joy, the love, the kindness. We must have an open mind. Again, the mindset, not just saying I have a growth mindset, but being intentional about doing the work, shifting the mindset from being closed off. We must be willing to follow our intuition. We get intuitive feelings that something is wrong or something is right. And be prepared to experience a deeper awakening. When we go on this journey of developing our personal leadership, it's not just about the woo stuff. Like, you know, there are persons out there, and I'm not knocking anyone. I'm really not knocking anyone. But it's not about, when we talk about experience a deeper awakening, it's learning to sit with self, learning to sit with self and understand self more. Introspection, looking within and pulling those things out of your heart, pulling those things out of your soul. And so that's how we develop our spirituality. So as I said, let's not confuse spirituality with being religious. Spirituality, they do have some overlaps, because when you have a religion, you are going to believe. There is something that you believe in. There is this ethics. There's a part of the ethics that, or the ethos that, you know, it connects. But spirituality is, where do I have meaning? You know, and it goes deeper than just the rules and the laws that governs that body. It's deeper. What am I connected to? It goes back to the self-reflection. So how do I feel connected? How do I feel connected? How should I live? While religion will ask, religion is the practice and the rites and the rituals, you know, what is true, what is false. And so let's look at a few ways that we can develop our spirituality, and then we move into the fifth one. And so you may want to ask yourself, how do I develop my spirituality? When I say through chaos, I'm not talking about the world burning down and stuff like, I'm talking about something happening in your life. There are chaotic conditions, like, for example, you lose a loved one and you realize that, oh my goodness, this has brought you closer. This experience, because it is a chaos, it is a trauma, it has brought you closer to the higher being, the parallel or the vertical relationships, I should say then. The vertical relationship that you have with Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. It brings you closer in that relationship, developing that spirituality. And then it also impacts your horizontal relationships. And you start, when I talk about learning to manifest, I'm talking about going back to the spiritual principles of manifestation, of, you know, not just saying the words, but actually doing the thing. working towards it, because we have a tendency to talk about name it and claim it, but we can name whatever we want to name, but we have to work. Again, intentional work. It takes intentionality, intentional action to get to that personal leadership. You develop as you grow along, as you go along, you develop that spirituality. And so as me, you're now experiencing oneness with that, what has happened for you and not to you. A lot of times we say that things happen to us, but things actually happen for us in order for us to grow, to expand, to become a better version of ourselves. And that's, again, developing our personal leadership. So we have these experiences that we can share with others in our leadership journey, organizational level, personal level. So we have those experiences we can share for others to become a better version of themselves too. And the final key to developing our personal leadership is to build new relationships. We are all here building relationship with each other in this space, in this zone right now. A few years ago, it would have been difficult for me to connect with so many of you in this space right now, because we were so far away. And, you know, there are 45 of us on this call today who are listening in, and we're from different parts of the world. And this is how we build new relationship. This is how we connect and we develop our personal leadership. And so Stephen Covey says, the place to begin building any relationship is to do it is inside ourselves, inside of our circle of influence, our own character. So how do I build my own personal leadership in my character? And so we have to start with self. Again, it comes back to self. Build a meaning relationship with yourself. Going within, asking yourself the questions, the hard questions, and staying there, experiencing your feelings, experiencing your emotions. And when you experience those emotions, write them down. What's coming up for you in that space as you build a relationship with self? And then you'll be able to start building better relationship with those around you. So how do we do that? There are 3 ways we can start building new relationships on this journey. Take time to focus on you. There is a saying that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So we cannot give what we don't have. If we're going to give love, it must be first within self. Too many times persons think that if I am by myself, I am lonely. I can't stay in a space by myself and I'm bored. But can I tell us, really, to develop our personal leadership, we really need that me time. We really need that me time away from the television, me time away from the husband or the wife or the children, the friends, and spend some time with self, assessing self, building that relationship with self, understanding, learning to understand what are my triggers and how do I trigger others in that same space. Because here's what, not only do other people trigger us, we also trigger other people. When we do not understand ourselves, we won't understand that we're triggering others. And so it is not being about bored, but it's about taking that first step to learn to enjoy your own company, and then you can learn to enjoy the company of others. The second thing is accept yourself. We all have insecurities. We are from different backgrounds. We go through we grow through, and I like to use that word grow instead of go, because when you go, it means that you just pass along. You may not see, you may not learn, you may not take into account anything, but we grow through different challenges in our life, in our sphere. And so sometimes, you know, some of these things we cannot change, and sometimes it's just a part of us. And there are things, there are our features, like, I mean, yeah, we can change our eyes now, our eye colors now with contact lenses and all of that. But when you take out the contact lens, you are that person still. You're still that beautiful person. And so accept who you are. And so you may want to write this down. What areas of my personality or background or physical appearance am I struggling with right now? Many of us, we are struggling, but let's ask ourselves, let's be intentional and ask ourselves that. And the third thing and final thing is increase your value. Learn to maximize and to embrace and to recognize your own personal value. You may have been dropped. May have been crumpled up like some old dollar bill, and people might have stomped on you and all of that. But I'm here to tell you, you still are valuable. You still have value within, and nothing, no matter how crumpled up you may look, no matter what may happen, they may stomp on you 100 times over. They cannot take away your value. So learn to maximize your value by overcoming and fixing those things within your power, because we have things within our power that we can change. So let's learn to fix those things. Let's learn to maximize and fix those things, and that's within our power. So everything in life has a price, my friends, everything. What price are you willing to pay to realize your destiny? What price are you willing to pay to realize your destiny? Because developing your effective personal leadership is all about these 5 keys. Knowing your higher purpose, being adaptive and accountable, developing your self-confidence and your self-discipline, developing your spirituality, and understanding, building relationships, starting with self. Any questions, any comments, David?
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Tani. We are so much grateful for your time spent here with us to share this wonderful topic, breaking it into detail for us to understand how personally we can develop our leadership. John F. Kennedy says, wise leaders generally have wise counselors because it takes a wise person themselves to distinguish to distinguish them. And he continued to say, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. Leadership and learning. So for you to personally develop yourself, you must give yourself to learning. And it is the reason why we are here every weekend, Sunday, between the hours of 7 GMT, 8 p.m. Nigeria, 7 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. EST, and 1 p.m. CST. We are all here to learn, to share knowledge, because it is important for us to learn, and it will take wise people to counsel you. So this organization is doing everything possible to bring wise counselors on this platform that can speak to you as an individual to how you can develop yourself, how you can lead yourself, and how you can guide yourself. On behalf of the David Douglas Leadership Forum, we are grateful for your time, Doc. And so we want to acknowledge some dignitaries who are here with us tonight. And we want to be grateful to Ambassador Ddouglas from Nigeria. You are here with us. Thank you very much. Engineer Shehu, also from Nigeria. You are here with us. Thank you very much. We have Professor P.K. Richardson with us here from the Manchester Business School. Thank you so much. Anna Jujuvi from Finland. Thank you so much. And other people joining us from other parts of the world. Thank you all for being here. At this point, we're opening the platform for question and answers. And because of hackers that we experience on this platform, we lock the platform. So if you have question, what you need to do, you raise your hand, we will give you the opportunity to ask your question. So anybody with question, you raise your hand, we give you the opportunity, we unmute you to go ahead with your question. But Alf, Prof, I have made you co-host to this evening session, and so if anything, you can unmute yourself to go ahead. We are grateful for having you, Ramatu Yosan. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being here with us. All right, so okay, so Rosina, Rosina, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, it's Rosanna.
Rosanna.
Hi. I'm the director of a small nonprofit called the Circle of Angels Initiative. And I am also a councilwoman on the Rural Maryland Council. And as such, we are bringing, because of the wonderful leadership of Pastor David, we are bringing to Ghana an ag and art tour, which we have done here in the States, in various states. North Carolina, for instance, has done it at Clemson University. So we are doing it in Ghana, July 30th, 31st, and August 1st, and we're inviting everybody to come. And one of the interesting things that is going to happen there is we will be talking about new and innovative farming techniques using artificial intelligence and other things that the doctor spoke about. And thank you for your fabulous presentation. I'm glad to see 44 people on this platform. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Rosina. So yes, Rosina is part of our upcoming event, which is in 30th of July to 1st of August, and that is Agrito. On the 1st of August, we're going to crown it with a wonderful Global Leadership Award, and we will be talking about that as we zoom into the session. But at this time, we're still open for question and answers, and I have questions that I want to ask Doc. My first question is this. I have 3 questions, but I'm going to take the first one. So my first question is, how will one know that he or she is walking in his purpose? How will you know you are living your purpose? You're living in your purpose.
And that's an excellent question, David, because I did share that when you ask these questions, so it is about doing some self-assessment. So it goes back to the self-assessment and being honest in those self-assessment. Because when you ask yourself, who am I outside of? And let's take away all the roles. Let's take away the titles of who you are. Right? And you dig deep within and you ask yourself, who am I outside of these titles? And when you can truly answer those questions without pretense, then so to speak, you're able to dive into your purpose. You're able to, as I said, we are all here to serve. That's first and foremost. Our purpose in this life is to serve each other. We have been given gifts. The gift that I have is to serve someone else. It's not for me to hold close to my chest, but my purpose is to serve. How do I serve? I serve in different capacities. How do I know that I'm walking in this purpose? Is that when I go to bed, or before I go to bed, I can look back on my day and I can say, you had a good day supporting someone else. You made someone else life lighter. When a client can say to me, the strategies, and I'm going to use that word for the sake of this, the strategies that you've shared with me are still helping me on this journey. You know that is a point that you know that you're walking in your purpose. When you are so connected to living a life that you don't feel so burdened when you wake up in the morning, and you are saying, do I have to go to this job? You're not walking in your purpose. You're not living in your purpose. But when you wake up and you have this excitement, are you going to feel motivated every day? And again, I am putting that out. You're not going to feel motivated. So motivation and your purpose are two different things. You're not going to feel motivated every day, but your purpose is going to drive you. It's going to give you that excitement, even when you don't feel like, and you start doing it, it gives you that excitement that gives you this energy and this drive. And so I believe, my opinion is that this is the way that you can tell when you're walking in your purpose, when you feel so aligned with what you're doing and you're impacting positively. And I'm going to put that in there because we can impact people in a negative way. But when you impact people in such a positive way, you know that your purpose is being fulfilled. Again, our purpose, there are different ways that we serve. Let's get that clear. We all do not serve the same way. And so my purpose in this season is to inspire women in corporate. Also to inspire teams in corporate to build a synergy, to collaborate, to come together. And so that's my assignment within my big purpose in this season.
Thank you very much. Well, I still have questions, but then I can see the hand of Techno. I'll be giving Techno the opportunity to ask his or her question. But from Arabi Mustafa, you are connecting from Abuja, Nigeria. We are grateful to have you on the platform. We also have engineer who says, Engineer Shehu said, message well delivered and appreciated. Thank you. Also believe the engineers coming from Nigeria. So we have Anna also from Finland who said, she first of all appreciates your presentation and thank you, but she has a question here. So I will be going for her question after we take the question from or contribution from Techno. And we also have Peter who also have questions for you. So we have few questions for you in the chat box, and I believe you'll be. So Techno, can you please unmute yourself to go ahead with your question?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. May we know where you are connecting from?
Okay, my name is Amara Shila from Nigeria.
Okay, all right. We pleased to have you here. Which part of Nigeria?
I'm in Abuja.
Okay, excellent. All right, go ahead with your question.
I'm actually from Ambassador Godwell or Dogon.
Oh, okay. We pleased to have you on.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to say something regarding your question about how you would know your purpose. So in contribution to what the co-host has said, I'm going to use myself as an example of recognizing a purpose. So now it's not everybody that knows how to recognize what their purpose is in life. So there was a time I was actually struggling with recognizing what my purpose exactly is in life. And at times that I questioned myself about what exactly am I in this world to do? What exactly is my purpose? Now I'm going to make references to what the co-host said earlier about religion and spirituality. Now, it takes the grace of God to recognize a purpose as a human being in this world. Now, not me being spiritual or not me being religious, right? But then this is me based on experience that made me recognize that I actually have a purpose in this world. There are times that I question myself, what exactly am I here to do? What exactly is my purpose? And recognizing it was a problem because I couldn't recognize exactly what I was here to do. I couldn't recognize what exactly my purpose was until I had an encounter. Now, this is me being spiritual. The encounter made me recognize who I am. She said something about you having self-love, having personal relationship with yourself. And yes, I started having personal relationship with myself. I started loving myself more. I stopped competing. I stopped comparing myself with other people. That helped me recognize exactly what my purpose is in this world. And my purpose exactly is to know that I am enough and I can actually impart in other people that do not or have not recognized what their purpose is. You cannot tell someone how to recognize their purpose is, but when the time is right, they will recognize their purpose. We're talking about recognition here, right? So it takes the grace to recognize what your purpose is. It's not about you knowing what your purpose is. You might know what your purpose is, but you might not recognize it. You get? So this is me speaking from my own experience. I was able to recognize what my purpose is, and I'm living towards that path. And by the grace of God, I'm going to get to where I am working towards getting to. So I think that's one thing about you knowing that you're serving your purpose. Not everyone knows that they're actually serving their purpose, but then we just have to work towards recognizing, our purpose so we can know or serve it in a way that we're going to recognize that we're actually serving our purpose in this world. So that is the little contribution I would add to what the co-host has said and your question as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is so powerful. Doc, you want to say something about it, or I should just go ahead with the other ones?
I just want to affirm what Techno said because one of the things that she shared is that we may know our purpose, but we may not recognize it. And again, here's the thing. A lot of us, we may know the purpose and we put it in dormancy. We sweep it under the rug. We do not know how to truly bring this out of ourselves. And so we may need a little help from others. We may need a little help from a coach, a mentor, a guide, somebody who has been on this journey longer than us, not necessarily longer in life, because we have persons who are younger in age, but they have been longer on the journey of discovery of purpose than us, than someone else. And so when it comes down to purpose, yes, you may know it because there are persons who, again, it goes back to the gifts that you have been given, the abilities that you have. You may see that you have the ability to draw, but you do not recognize that that is your purpose, and you're not using that gift that you have been given to serve humanity in a positive way. And so that's what I want to add on to that conversation that Techno shared, David.
Thank you very much, Doc. And so, yes, in her response to the question that I asked, and she did answer two things that I was going to ask you. And so she answered that. So I would say her answer actually is in a multi-function way to answer a couple of things that I need to put before you, because I was going to ask, discovering your purpose, is there a timeline to it for one to discover his or her purpose? And the second one was, trying to be yourself. That is getting into yourself to begin to discover yourself. At that moment, won't people deem it to be selfishness, that you are tending to be selfish, because at that time the focus is on you, and so you shut everything around you and how people approach you and how you give yourself out, at that time, you limit everything and attention is on you. At that time, would people see you to become selfish or something like that? And wouldn't that affect you negatively in a way? It's just something that I want to, because a lot of us, sometimes, we try to be lovely and all of a sudden we shut down. Then we enter into safe mode. And so at that moment, how people approach you, people will feel there will be some resistance that somebody will come into you because they realize that no, she's no more open, he's no more open. You ask her a question, perhaps she will not answer you the way that you expect it. And that time, won't it be seen as you now becoming selfish? How is, I'm just trying to get the how we can blend that,
And I love where you're going
And
with this,
Tekno, you are still
David.
open to answer that, please, if you want to.
I love where you're going with that, David. And if if possible, I would also love to bring Peter Gay McClure into this question, if that's possible. But let me say this, David, that self-love is not about being selfish. When we start to begin to that discovery journey of purpose, of going within, it's going to require, we'll unmute you in a few, Peter Gay, but we're going to go to Ambassador Ddouglas before and then. But
you want me to pick him first, or you want to go ahead?
No, man, I'm going to answer the question and then we're going to go. I was just responding
because
to
there are
in the
information,
chat.
there are contributions also from Anna, and so I just need to take care of those ones also in the
yes,
and
absolutely.
Ambassador Ddouglas as well, as you say.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, but so when you begin that journey, David, it may seem selfish. It may seem like you are getting into the selfish space, but even Jesus himself took time away from his disciples.
I'm not cutting you short, but Peter, yes, I will please unmute you to go ahead with your question. So just give me few time. Let's take care of this. Doc, I think you have a lot of questions to answer tonight.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
And so answering that question, it's not, as I said, it's not about becoming selfish to the point where you are going to shut people out. However, when you start discovering yourself and discovering your purpose, there is a point where you have to be selfish in a way where you start putting boundaries because you are now learning the value of self. And so that is a part of the development of your personal leadership, of discovering you, who you are, because you are now asking yourself certain questions. You are now digging deep within. And you are not just looking at the surface of your life anymore. You are going much deeper. And you are now looking at, okay, my purpose is to serve. I have discovered that. I have discovered that, okay, in Tekno's case, she's a nurse, but where on this journey did I discover that, or how did I discover? And she took us through discovering that purpose. For me, I didn't just fall into my purpose. It took a time for me to get here. I was in the capacity of, again, as you shared in my bio, I was in the capacity of being in the financial industry. I served in that space for about 13 years, but that was not my true purpose. That was not my true essence. And when I started to discover who I was on that journey, I had to let some friendships go because those friendships would have kept me stuck. And if it means that you have to cut off some friendships that you had from high school, you have to do it. People are going to call you selfish. Well, I mean, I'm going to say let them, but you know who you are seeking to become. Again, you're tapping into your gifts. You're tapping into who God has called you to be and to become. And in that sense, you definitely have to let some relationships go. And so it may seem selfish, but when you look at it, self-love overrides that. And self-love requires us to set boundaries, healthy boundaries that is going to establish certain things that, yes, I do not do certain things anymore. I do not go certain places anymore. I'm not going to get myself involved in certain activities anymore because, again, I am learning the value of self.
Thank you very much, Doc. So let me quickly read these messages in the chat box, and Ambassador Ddouglas, I'll come to you. And Peter, I will pick I will unmute you accordingly. So so from Anna, she's saying, who are you when no one is watching? Find a problem that makes you angry and find a solution to that problem. There you will find your purpose. A good question is, are you angry enough? Are you angry enough? Is a great question to all of us. So from Peter Gay, he says, on the subject of purpose, so I will be unmuting you to ask this question. So I'm not going to read it to save time. Ambassador Ddouglas, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question?
Good evening, everyone. I'm calling from Abuja. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you for the convener of this. Dr. Ddouglas, he has been my amazing friend from Ghana, and he has been so consistent. So having that being said, let me move straight to my contribution. You see, the essence of existence cannot be overemphasized when it comes to the purpose why we exist. So I will take my own quote from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7, because I believe most of us here are believers. And it says that there are treasures in earthen vessels, and that the excellency of the power of God may be of God and not of us. So if I should paraphrase that, or just to try to tweak it a little bit, if we as individuals, we look at ourselves outwardly, we will miss the essence of existence because we carry treasures in us. You understand? So also I will digress and take the prodigal son for an example. He asked his father at some point, as father, please give me my portion of my wealth, which originally belongs to him. He went out, he squandered it. And when he was in that lonely land, he looked at himself. Now it comes to a point of decision. What am I doing here? I'm dining with swines. Even the servants in my father's house, they are being treated like kings. And he said, no, I have to go back. So I believe it takes us to a point of decision whereby you are fed up with the status quo and you say, no, I have to go back. Like what Amara said, self-love. Because sometimes we get angry for no reason. When you discuss or have conversations with people, you hear them say that God is not answering me. I'm angry with God. I can't serve him. I don't understand. Are you a fool? It's only a fool that will say in his heart that there is no God. Because if we can actually think, then we can be thankful. And some of us as individuals, we have this entitlement mentality. And I think these are things that has crept into life, into churches, into organizations. And you find out at the end, people just live life anyhow, carelessly. So discovering purpose is a big problem for them. So I think we should take this and all the contributions from every of these people that have contributed into cognizance that honestly, we should not look out at ourselves outwardly, because we all carry treasures. Discover that and add value to life. Because I believe the purpose of life is not to be happy, but to be useful. Because when you are useful, you will be happy. I think that is just my little contribution. Though I joined late, but I just felt I should just share this little contribution of mine. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ddouglas. Doc, do you want me to allow Peter to also go ahead with her question before Ambassador was just there? So, Peter, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, everybody.
Hi. May we know where you're connecting from?
I'm from Jamaica, just like Tanique.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we have Jamaica in the house tonight.
We certainly do. We certainly do.
Right. Good.
So on the subject of purpose, is it all centered around your giftedness, your skill set, your goals? That's my question.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you for that question, Peter Gay. That is an excellent question. Some of our goals may not, and I'm using the word may not be in alignment with our purpose. And why do I say that? We may desire certain things in life, but they are not necessarily aligned with our purpose. We may desire some level of material things. Let me just use material things as a big benchmark. So you may desire some level of material things, but they're not necessarily in line with the purpose that you have been given. Your purpose, as we said, is when you discover that purpose of using your giftedness, because your giftedness and not your passion, because let me say this. A lot of persons are passionate about some things that are not about purpose. Like, I am passionate about singing, but I cannot sing to save my life. That is not my purpose. Again, it comes back to the giftedness that I have identified within myself that is supposed to be used as a way to influence humanity in a positive way. Let's take the apostle Peter. Peter was an apostle, and even though he denied Christ 3 times, his giftedness was to preach the word. Jesus took him from being a fisherman, and he was now a preacher, a fisherman, a fisher of souls. That was his purpose, to bring the gospel, to break it down. Some of us, we have the giftedness of breaking things, complex things down into simple wording, simple formulas. Some of us has the giftedness of listening intently to others and giving them solutions that they themselves would not have even seen. Some of us, we are gifted as a mathematician. We solve mathematical problems for the world around us. And that is your giftedness. Your purpose is to serve in that giftedness. And so when we talk about purpose, it's not necessarily about, as I said, the goals that you have. And that is the reason why I didn't even bring up goals a lot in this presentation, because we may have goals that are not connected any at all to our purpose. Like, if I say, for example, my goal is to travel to Dubai. What does that have necessarily to do with my purpose? That is just a goal that I have, that I want to travel there. However, I can use my purpose while I'm on that trip to enhance the life of somebody I come in contact with. But the goal wasn't for me to go there and to do that, if you understand what I'm saying. And so our goals may not necessarily be connected to the purpose, but our giftedness is, yes, generally connected to our purpose in life and how we use that to serve others in a positive way. I trust I answered your question.
Thank you very much, Doc. Peter, I believe that answers your question. So yes, well, Prof. PK is here with us. He has been quiet. I want to give him the opportunity to make his contribution. Prof, we are here. We want to hear from you. What is your contribution to tonight's presentation? Is he still here? I'm not seeing him. Oh, I think he's gone. I think he dropped. Okay, all right. So Prof is gone. I've put something in the chat box, but Alf, you can unmute yourself and go ahead. Let's just hear you. Alf is connecting from Germany. Let's hear you. Hello, Mr. Alfred Domepo. Are you still here with us? Can you hear me? Okay, all right. So he put a long one here. Is that at some point we all ask ourselves, why are we here? This triggers deep introspection about who we are and our purpose in life. For some, purpose comes in a sudden Eureka moment. For others, it unfolds gradually through experience and self-discovery. The key is to recognize it before it's too late. Life distraction can obscure this search, but those who actively reflect, learn, and take meaningful action are more likely to find fulfillment. Purpose is both a journey and destination, shaped by our values, choices, and the impact we seek to make. Thank you very much. So Petra is saying, can I say something before jump off? Please feel free. Feel free to do that. So let me unmute you so you can go ahead to do that. We have a lot of people leaving, but then I think the time today, you just have to forgive us. We have gone 30 minutes into our time. But because this is important, so we are all here enjoying it. So very soon we will be closing. Peter, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your contribution?
This is such an interesting. Oh, this is such a very interesting topic, and I'm so happy that, Tanique is involving us in this by her teaching and just by us, just introspecting what this means for us on an everyday basis. And I'm just realizing how much purpose can be a mystery, and it's not so clear-cut sometimes. It can be very obscure. It can be very confusing. And I'm realizing that if we don't fully get it, it's okay. Right? It's not to stress you out, and it's just to accept that we walk into purpose every day. It might be very visible, and it might not be. You might be plunged into a situation like taking care of an elderly, like your elderly aunt or your grandmother, and that might not seem like purpose to you, but it is. You're plunged into this for a particular season, which helps to grow you. So it's both growing you in the process and also serving another, which is a grandmother or the aunt. So it can be very obscure, not so simple-minded. We can be walking in it every day, but sometimes we don't see it or put a label over it to say, oh, that's purpose. And really and truly, it is. For example, a wife who decides not to work, but to take care of her children, is purpose. So you don't have to be a leader in an organization to say, oh, that's purpose. I'm walking in purpose in this leadership. It could be as simple as I just said. I am feeling led to be a housewife. Taking care of my 3 children or 2 children, that is purpose. That's great purpose as a wife, as a woman. You know, so it's not to be blinded to say, it has to be something big. It could be just something very small and very undermined or underlooked or undervalued, right? Is purpose.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So for example, you as a leader, you are David Douglas, right? You're walking into purpose just having this platform. Because you're growing from it and you're also leading people to think, to process, to grow. That's your purpose. I'm quite sure this is not the only thing you do, right?
No.
Right. So you have several purposes that
When you wait to the end, we'll be announcing other things that we do. And as a matter of fact, you are becoming part of the families we have from Jamaica. Our presence is growing in Jamaica. You are the 5th contact that we have in from Jamaica who is part of this platform. And we'll be glad to add you to this growing community.
Well, thank you so much. But yeah, you have several purposes. You can have several purposes working one at the same time, right?
Right.
Right. So it might be very simple and it might be very grandiose, but the whole point is you grow from it and you also serve in it.
Right.
That's what I get from it. Thank you so much for listening.
You're welcome. How can we get your contact to follow up on you? Are you rightly connected to Dr. Tani?
I am.
Okay, all right then. Okay then. So we'll be talking from behind. Okay, so at this point, we want to be grateful to everybody who has made it, who has been part of tonight's section. It wouldn't have been successful without you. We thank you, people joining us globally. Grateful to you, Anna Jujuvi from Finland. We know what time it is right now for you. We also want to be grateful to our student fellowship, the chapters that we have in various university campuses. I know we have people from the Valley View University who is here with us tonight, and we also have people from the University of Legon, UPSA. We are thankful to all of you. Data Link University, we're thankful to all of you joining the platform tonight. So time is far gone, and I'm not going to talk too much, but you have already heard about from our partner from Maryland talking about our next event, which will be from 30th of July to 1st of August. And what is this event about? Number one, we're talking about agritourism. Very, very important. Nobody can survive without food. So there is a need for us to ensure that, we connect our networks to be able to grow and get the new techniques that we can use to grow our farms and to increase on our product to reduce hunger. So this agri-tour, actually, the lady who spoke, that is the founder and the leader of Circle of Angels, and she did mention that this is what they have been doing in Maryland for some time now. So through that partnership, we adopted it into the African market, and so we using this platform now to organize people globally to connect to Africa come July 30th. So we will be meeting here in Ghana, all over the world, and to talk about the importance of agric for national development. I may not be able to speak about all of it, but we not only coming to promote agric, but we also want to celebrate people, ethical leaders. And we also want to celebrate people who are doing well in agric and in creative arts. So we will crown the event with leadership, with award, which we call Global Leadership Award. And we have other partners who are involved in these. Key of them is womanize.org from Mozambique. We have people from other countries. Nigeria is keenly involved. Ambassador Odogu is part of what we are doing. Engineer Shehu is our rep in Nigeria. So all these people are contributing positively to this event, and it's going to be big event. I'm not bragging, but I know what I'm saying. So we have people connecting from the UK, the USA, and all over the place. I'm praying that next week I'll even mention that we have participants from Jamaica, because Ghana and Jamaica, we are like, I'm sorry to say this, we are like a man and a wife. Because when you mention Jamaica, you mention Ghana. We're looking forward to how we can spread this good news to the Caribbeans. Though we have one lady who is doing that for us, but it will be good if we can have somebody doing it directly from the house. So we know that, yes, we are short of people from Jamaica and other Caribbean countries that will be part of this event. So it's going to be a great event. And if you are listening to me, make it a point. Begin to spread the good news. We will have Anna. Anna will be visiting Ghana for the first time because of this event. Anna, you want to say something? From Finland, she'll be visiting Africa for the first time. There are a lot of people visiting Ghana for the first time because of this event. And Rosina herself will also be visiting with her group, the Circle of Angels group, and we'll be identifying leaders to award them and to recognize them for their good work on that day. So please mark your calendar, 30th of July to 1st of August. We will all be gathering here in Ghana, West Africa, to celebrate those who are doing well in creative art and in leadership. So we thank you all for your time. Next week, we are meeting here, and guess what? We have another wonderful speaker who is coming all the way from the USA, and so she will be speaking. One thing that we're trying to do is how best we can, I don't want to use the word help because I don't have the power to help, but how we can make opportunities available to our youth and the students. So last week we talked about scholarship opportunities in Europe, and we directly connect you to those who are issuing that and stuff like that. She was here, she spoke about it, and she gave the guidelines upon by which you can apply. We're looking for other parts of the world where we can have these opportunities open to our youth and our students, that you don't only get to school here in Ghana or in Africa, but get to know about opportunities out there that you can go to explore and to have some exposure. Come back, bring the goods back to Africa, because we need to develop Africa. So we will have Dr. Millie Tuches from the USA, who will be speaking to us on the topic Studying Abroad, a step-by-step guide for students, parents, and educators studying abroad. And so she will also be talking about the college planning next week. So spread the good news, talk to your colleagues about it. Let's all come here, learn how you can apply for scholarship outside. What are the guidelines that you need to go through, so that if it is well for all of us. That is all that I can say. So once again, we are grateful to all of you for your time being here with us. No more question, nothing. Doc, do you want to have your final word?
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. And again, I appreciate this very lovely platform and the amazing persons who came on to partake in this fellowship with us, because I believe that this is a fellowship that we come together to, to learn from each other, to grow with each other. And I truly appreciate this opportunity to have been able to share in the space this afternoon. I want to say thank you. Thank you to you first and foremost, David, and thank you to all the honored guests who were here and are still here at this moment. I placed my LinkedIn profile in the chat that persons can connect with me there. That's the easiest and fastest way to connect with me. And we can we can continue the conversation there. And again, it was a pleasure being your co-host today and taking the questions and just sharing from my perspective and from my experience how we can develop our effective personal leadership as we grow into 2025 and beyond.
Thank you very much. So yes, Doc said she has shared her LinkedIn a link in the chat box. So please connect with her, learn. You know, we're not restricting anybody from connecting to the speakers that we bring on this platform, because we want you to connect with mentors, people that you know can mentor you, that can guide you, that can lead you. You know, so we're not putting restriction on anybody apart from we giving them the guidelines of how they can approach. We will do, because we don't want anybody to come back telling us it is on this platform that I connect with somebody and I had my fingers bent. With that one, we will chase you everywhere where you are, and we know that you will not be difficult for us to get. If anybody is involved in anything like that, with our contacts and partners we bring on this platform to be of value and to be of help to all of us, and anybody with the idea to take advantage of them, please change from now, repent from now, because it's not gonna work, and we won't sit down for that to happen, because we want good for everybody. If you are here with a positive mind, we are here together with you, and we will all grow together, and we will all learn together, and we will be bringing more of them. We will be bringing more and more of them. So please be part of this growing community. Engage with others, talk to people about it, share the link when you come across it, share it. Follow us on our social media platforms. We are on YouTube, we are on TikTok, we are on Facebook, and we are on Instagram. Look for David Douglas Leadership Forum. If you also want to know more about us, you can Google us, www.ddlforum.com, or you can Google the David Douglas Leadership Forum. You'll get to know more about us. We've done a lot of work in this country, Ghana. We're hoping Nigeria is our next country. We're looking forward to where we can begin to touch and to transform life of the student. And I'm glad that we're having a lot of our brothers from Nigeria joining the platform, which will open the door for us to be able to enter into Nigeria and to do what we want to do successfully, because we have key people on the ground who can help and to direct us, to lead us to what we need to do. So we thank you all for your time. Next week we will be here. Have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on your geographical location. From now, we will draw the curtains for tonight. Thank you all for your time. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Yes. It's good to have smart students around you. So we are launching the Legon chapter, of our. This is just a small unit of what we do by connecting the students. So we connect with the student and give them the little support that we can. So the University of Ghana Legon chapter will be launching it on the 8th of February. So we're inviting everybody who is connecting with us here. If you are in Ghana on the 8th, mark your calendar. We will come with a time. Hopefully next week we will tell you the exact time that it will be taking place. But mark it. It's the University of Ghana, Legon, where we will officially be launching the University of Ghana chapter, and then connect with the students over there. So thank you so much, Kofi, for reminding me. So mark your calendar, February 8th, we will be at Legon. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye-bye, everybody. Doc will be talking.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.